Hello, students. Welcome back to my channel. Let us continue learning networking concepts. In today's session, we will be discussing about the various network devices. Now, network devices are also known as a networking hardware. They are the physical devices that allow hardware on a computer network to communicate and interact with one another. So, without these network devices, it is difficult for us to do the data transmission across the network. So, some of the network devices, you would have seen them in your day to day life. Few are modem, Ethernet, hub, switch, repeater, bridge, router, gateways. So, you can see a few of them mentioned over here, the images. So these are the devices which we will be briefly looking at them today, saying what are their functionality and why it is important to be present, why their presence is important in our network. All right. So the very first one is your modem. So this kind of a device you would have seen in your house or in your um, office or somewhere. You would have seen this is nothing but your modem. So what is a modem? A modem is a crucial network device that connects your local area network to the wide area network. Okay, or you can also say that to the internet. So it's very important. The modem is the one which will give you access to the internet. So it modulates and demodulates, which is nothing but converts the signal between your internet service provider. So whichever the internet service provider, it can be ACT, it can be Airtel, whichever internet service provider you're using, those signals it will modulates and demodulates, okay, and your router or your computer. So this will help us in order to access the internet with the help of your ISP. So it ensures you can connect to the internet by handling data transmission. So modem is the one which will allow us to do the data transmission between the network. So there are two types of modem. So internal modem as well as external modem. Like the name says, internal modems is this one. So these are fixed within the computer. You will not be able to physically see it outside this one. This one is nothing but your external modem. So these modems are connected externally to the computer or as a peripheral device. But if it is an internal modem, it will be fixed within your computer. You won't be able to view it outside. Okay, so those are the two types of modems which we will use in general. Next comes as our Ethernet card. So Ethernet, what is an Ethernet? It is a LAN architecture developed by Xerox Corp in association with DEC and Intel. These are the companies which have developed Ethernet. So Ethernet uses bus or star topologies. So topologies we have already learned. So it uses one of them and can support data transfer rates up to 10 megabits per second. All right. So the computers that are part of Ethernet have to install a special card called as a Ethernet card. This has to be installed. This is how it will look. So these are the Ethernet ports. Okay. An Ethernet card contains connections for either coaxial or a twisted pair cable. So you can connect it with the help of a coaxial cable or a twisted pair cables. So if it is designed for coaxial cable, the connection will be BNC. BNC is nothing but it is a kind of a connector with the help of which we will be using a connecting the Ethernet card to the coaxial cable. All right. So this is also another device which we will be using in the network. The next device which we will use commonly is hub. Okay, somewhat it looks like this. Hub is a hardware device used to connect several computers together. As you can see here, there are n number of ports. You can connect many computers to the hub. A hub contains multiple independent but connect modules of network and internet worked equipment. Okay, a similar term is connector. Concentrator. Sometimes hub is also called as a concentrator because it is where we are going to concentrate all our network or all our computers. A concentrator is a device that provides a central connection point for cables from workstations, servers, and peripherals. That is the reason we will call it as a hub or a concentrator. In a star topology, twisted pair wire is run from each workstation to the central concentrator. So if it is a star topology, we will be using a twisted pair in order to connect it to the all the system into the hub or concentrator. So hubs can be active hubs or a passive hubs. So what is an active hub? Active hub electrically amplify the signal as it moves from one connected device to another device. So it is doing certain action here. It is amplifying or making the signal strong. So active concentrators are used like repeaters. Now the repeater is also another device, but here hubs can also be used. In case of an active hub, we can use active hub also as a repeater to extend the length of a network. Okay, so repeaters is nothing but it amplifies or makes the signal strong. So opposite of active hub is a passive hub, which allow the signals to pass from one computer to another without any change. So it will not do any modification to the signal. Instead, it will just pass the signal as it comes. So that is why it is not active, it is passive hub. The next network device is switch. Now, this switch is a device that is used to segment networks into different subnetworks called as subnets or LAN segments. So, you might be having a n number of uh, mm, systems. So, if you want to make this as one network and if you want to segment this as another network, then you can easily use switches. Okay. So, again, once again, these kind of devices you would have seen in your labs. These are nothing but switches which are used for segmenting. Okay, segmenting the network into smaller subnets prevents traffic overloading in a network. So that is the reason we need to do the segmentation. A switch is responsible for filtering, that is transferring data in a specific way, and for forwarding packets. So this will work as a as the one which is going to help to transfer the data. Okay, and also it can control the traffic. So as you can see, if it is a bigger network, the traffic control will be difficult. But if you're dividing it with the help of a switch as a different networks, then once again the traffic control will be easy. So traffic here is of data traffic, data which is flowing in the network. Switch support any packet protocols. So it also supports protocols. LANs that are segmented to switches are called as a switched LANs. Okay, so if at all you are using switching in a LAN, then it is called as a switched LAN. Next, we have repeater. So repeater is a device that amplifies a signal being transmitted on the network. So amplifies is nothing but whenever a signal becomes weak, we are going to resend it or make it strong. So it is used in a long network lines which exceeds the maximum rated distance for a single run. Over a distance, the cable connecting a network loses the signal transmitted. If the signal degrades too much, it fails to reach the destination. So repeaters can be installed along the way to ensure that the packets reach their destination. So with the help of a repeaters, what we can do is we can amplify and make sure the data reaches the whichever the destination. Okay, so as you can see here, suppose this client is sending and your thick net or your cable is very long. By the time it reaches halfway, your signal is lost. So amplifier repeaters can be used here in order to resend or amplify that and it will reach the destination. So repeaters help in that way in the network. Now there are two kinds of repeaters. Amplifiers, it merely amplifies all the incoming signal into the network. However, it amplifies both the signal and any concurrent noise also. So noise is nothing but the disturbance in the signal. So an amplifier not just it amplifies the data, also whatever the noise is there will also be amplified. But signal repeater, what the signal repeater does, it collects the inbound packet and then transmit the packet as if it were starting from a source station, which means here it will try to reduce the noise. It is only concentrating only on the data. So signal repeaters will repeat the signal, wherein which amplifier, irrespective of the data and the noise, it is going to amplify whichever the data it is receiving. As it is going to amplify it. The next device what we have is bridge. Now what is a bridge? A bridge is a device that lets you link two networks together. As you can see here, I have one network with the help of a hub and I have another network. A bridge is the one which is bridging between those two networks. So bridges are smart enough to know which computers are which side of the bridge. So they allow only those messages that need to get to the other side of the bridge. Okay, suppose there is another network connected over here and there is a host is sending the data. So bridge should understand that whether it is supposed to send it here or here. so that the bridge is smart enough. It is built in that way that it understands to which network it is supposed to send that particular data. So as a packet arrives at the bridge examines the physical destination address of the packet. All right. So with the help of this physical destination, it will understand that where it is, to which network it is supposed to send the data. The bridge then decides whether or not let the packet cross. All right. So this is how bridge works. Then we have our router. So router is a device that works like a bridge but can handle different protocol is known as a router. All right. So here you should remember that router can handle protocols. Now, what is a protocols? This we have learned already in the previous sessions. So, for example, a router can link Ethernet to a mainframe. So that can be done using the router. So if the destination is unknown to a router, it sends the traffic to another router which knows the destination. Now, these routers are all the way smarter than your bridge. If at all it doesn't know which is the address, then it is going to communicate with the another router which is present in the network, and it is going to ask whether it is aware of that network, and it will send it to that. Okay, a router differs from a bridge in a way that former uses logical address and the later uses the physical address. So which uses the logical address? The bridge uses the logical address. Now what is the logical address here? Logical address is nothing but a virtual address, you can see. Okay, virtual address generated by whom? Generated by a CPU. It is called as a logical address. Where in which what is a physical address? Physical address represents the location in the computer where the data is stored. Location in the computer where the data is stored. That is nothing but the physical address. Remember, router works on the basis of a physical address, wherein which bridges works on the basis of the logical address. That is a very main difference between these two. And the last device of the network which we'll be learning is gateways. Now, what is this gateway? A gateway, as the name suggests, is a passage to connect two networks that may work upon different networking models. What is a networking model? A network model is a set of guidelines. Okay, different guidelines they may be following. One network model may be following a different guidelines, and another may be following a different guidelines. So guidelines for what? Guidelines for data transmission. It could be for data transmission or receiving the data. How the data has to be received or how the data has to be transmitted. That guidelines might be vary. So in such cases, we will use the gateway. They work as a messenger agents that take data from one system, interpret it, and transfer it to the another system. Gateway are also called as a protocol converters because, of course, they'll be using a different guidelines. When I talk about guidelines, it is nothing but protocols. A different network is using a different protocol. So this conversion between the protocol is done by who? It is done by the gateway and can operate at any network layer. So gateways are generally more complex than switches and routers. So as you can see here, there is an entire network and there is another entire network, and gateway is the one which will be communicating between those two. Now this is required when we talk about globally transferring the data. There may be different kinds of networking protocol used by different countries. In such situation, we would require these kind of a network devices. So that's all in today's session, students. We have learned many number of network devices. I hope it is clear to you. So that's all in today's session. Thank you for watching. Keep learning.